I just want to say thank you to everyone who clicks on any of my stuff, any of the episodes that I put out, anything that I put out for that matter, because it's really important to me that you're taking in new concepts and new conversations as I venture into this new part of my life. Trying something new has been the thing that has pushed me to learn more about myself. And that's everything that the podcast is about. It's there to help teach you about parts of you that you don't understand, but you're not aware of how to connect to them. My guest in this episode's name is Shah. He lives in Crete, Greece, and he brings a really interesting aspect to the conversation. He took a chance on himself. And often people are confused as to how to arrive at something different than what they know. It's often because they don't invest or believe in themselves to take a chance and to go up against fear of the unknown. I like to bring people on the show that can offer a perspective through their experiences so you can connect to aspects of their life. And hopefully the seeds that are planted through this man's experience or through other individuals that I bring on the show are watered by you to try something new and break out of the structure or the boxes that you feel confined in. I know that structures and routines aren't necessarily something that everybody is against, but for a lot of people, they feel like they're missing something or they're concerned about this destination of retirement as it has them miss the journey. So forgive me, I'm new at this and I still make mistakes within the podcast because sometimes I talk too damn much and I'm starting to realize how to become better at things. It's really important to understand that you need to make mistakes along the journey in order to get better at things. So I appreciate you for taking something positive from conversations between real human beings. Much love for being here, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I had having it. Welcome back to Real Talk for an Unreal World, where we are bringing people from all over the world to talk about the similarities between human beings and just how we all are the same on the inside, which is the only place that actually matters. If you are taking in human beings for what they look like on the external, you're going to miss it. You're going to close doors and you're going to live from this lower vibrational mind that allows you to see through the eyes of judgment. And if you're seeing that way, I really hope the conversations that I have with individuals around me can help you see things from a different way, because that's everything that I try and do is teach an awareness through the similarities of human beings from an internal perspective where everything actually matters. My guest today, his name is Shah, living in Crete, Greece, and the man reached out to me on TikTok, which I think is really cool because normally I'm very hesitant with those kind of things, but Shah, spoke the language, and by speaking the language, what I mean with that is just the language of love, the language of awareness, the language of consciousness, and the language to distribute the knowledge and the feelings and the emotions and the awareness to other human beings, which to me is everything. I mean, if you're reaching out to me based on these philosophies, I'm listening because I'm trying to bring an awareness surrounding these things. So appreciate you being here, bro. Thank you.
It's an honor. It really is an honor. And for the wisdom that you are bringing out into the cosmos, it's beautiful. This is the reason why I wanted to connect with you, is because I could see a similarity of myself within you, of sharing the truth. So it's very important to do this, and it's a hard equation for some people to actually broadcast this energy because they've been programmed into a different frequency. Where you are saying you are opening up new realms of possibilities of thought patterns, and this is what makes it unique, and this is what makes it special, is because you are bringing in from your own experience, and you're only young-ish, if you like this me to call it, but you've lived a life of a 300-year-old. So this is where the wisdom comes involved. It's because in the small period of time of what you've experienced so much, and that's me not even knowing you. That's just me knowing the frequency where you're bringing. So I am blessed for the magic that you actually show to the people, for letting them to open up their own version of life. So yeah, so it's an honor to connect and to share the frequency.
I appreciate that, bro. I mean, I think it's important for people to understand like the frequency that Shah's speaking of is authenticity. Like that's the vibrational frequency that I admit is just authenticity, and I don't try to hide that for nothing, for nobody, because it's a natural thing to see that somebody is not being who they are. It's just in society there's a heavy indoctrination to practice being somebody you are not, therefore we will
100%.
not connect, right?
Yeah,
So because if we
yeah.
connect, then we're all vibing on the same frequency, we're all emitting the same authenticity, and we're all here for the same thing. It's not about money, it's about love.
No, for real, I agree with everything you said there. And this is the reason why I'm here in Crete now. This is the reason why I pulled away from society. I've ground myself to live in the mountains, to have my cat, to have my fireplace, to have the basic things of life, you know, and not be mind boggled by all this information and all this broadcast of frequency, what is occurring around us. We are a actual a living being, so what we should be doing is living, not worrying for what other people are talking about, what other nations are talking about. In my mindset, it's a kind of shard. You know what, you need to go and ground yourself, you need to go empower yourself, you need to go and actually come back with nature. And this is what I've done. I've left my homeland. I've come to a land where my stepfather has created a house. He passed away, and this is what actually broadcasted me to come here. It was from his death. I had two choices: to go to see his funeral, or go and see what he's created for his family. What's not even blood. And now I'm living in the legacy of my own stepfather, and it's amazing.
You hit on something very important there with your father. You understood what this man was creating by coming and connecting to the energy and what he put it into. Because I think it's important to talk about that, because a lot of people feel like what they need to leave their children on this planet is money. And it's an indoctrination to think that setting your children up for retirement is going to be the thing that alleviates them from being unhappy or struggling in this life. When in reality, money is, sure, it's a basic need, it's a requirement, absolutely. But teaching your children about what your relationship with money is far more valuable, because now you have an understanding of what this tool is on this planet. Education is the best thing you can give your children. And
Number
by
one.
yeah, by being an example, like
And the reason is because he was the first man who ever come in my life. I was 13 years old, who I saw as a true human, who looked after my mum like she was a goddess, and looked after me and my brother like we were his own blood, and that itself, that transformed my mindset. I was like, wow, there is good people in the world. From 13 downwards, it's been demonized, there's been pain, there's been hatred, but I've overcome it, and because I saw that one angel what transformed my mum's life. And from that, now I'm still living in it, you know? And this is what the magical part about it is, down to being the great role model. Now I saw him in my life, he created a great role model for me to look up to. I want to be this man, I want to be this person who's successful in so many different sectors of abilities in creation, in building, in cooking, So he was he was a master in all sorts of arts.
cool.
And for that, that was what made me feel, you know what? I want to be just like him. So this is why I'm here in Crete now, because of his death. It's created a new opportunity for me to carry on his legacy. Since I've been on the island for 5 years, now I'm connected with so many beautiful people and like angels what are doing retreats worldwide. So it's a vision I had when I was in England, Cambridge. I had these visions. I used to listen to Art Bell and Fade to Black. I used to listen to them religiously, and that somehow, I don't know how, shifted my thought pattern of broadcasting and manifesting. And I was like, wow. And then it was like they were listening to what I was feeling, It was a weird frequency, but it's created what I am doing now. So
I can speak
yeah.
to that a little bit. Art Bell, what Shah is talking about is a radio host for a program called Coast to Coast, and it was on the AM radio network. And interestingly enough, I listened to Art Bell and George Norrie myself because these guys were talking about aliens, UFOs from a very real perspective. They were not stereotyping it in any way, and they were not putting down individuals who brought in stories to the show. Now, of course, not all the stories that came into the show were real. We practice discernment with what we're listening, but what they were doing was introducing a new conversation into humans' lives, and it affected me because not all of us are buying this programmed narrative and agenda laid out by governments today. I have always gone against that narrative. I mean, that's why I chose drug addiction. Drug addiction is just an act of rebellion in itself. Obviously, I didn't know how to communicate about how I was feeling because nobody wants to do heroin and coke. And you're also very bored with the systematic structure of life. Like you take a look at it and you're highly aware of it. And you're like, I don't fit this model. Even if I'm good at it, I don't want to be good at it. Like, and that's okay. Like it's totally okay. But for many, they go through the systematic way of life because they're afraid of the unknown. Whereas me, I was like, lay it on me. Same with Shah. Shah took a chance on himself by leaving his homeland, leaving everything he knew, going to step into his father's shoes, but in his own way, with his own understandings, with his own feelings, and learn and try something new. And he's created this connection between nature and humans, the thing that actually matters in this life, the thing that most corporate individuals are seeking, but they have no idea where to look because they don't take a chance on themselves and they don't try something new. So I want to bring into this, Shaw, that you offer the retreats that you offer, because if there's corporate individuals that are listening to this, and I have met many along my journey that are looking for a way to break free, what are you guys doing over there?
For what I am doing, I'm collaborating with some great Israeli healers and retreat organizers. So, what I'm truly looking for is to have a hub on every continent, so we can have this kind of bartering system, and we can eradicate what is known as currency. Okay, we need to eradicate that completely and actually really see what ancestors taught us. So this is what I want to do and bring it into the future, if we would like to call it, but it's our everyday life. We're just repeating circles. Okay, we all got to understand that. And so for me, it's down to, all I want to do is to bring out the truthness of people, of knowing that we are part of a community what are actually true and honest, and we have the capabilities to create. So the workshops, what we are all doing is down to meditation. I do guided meditation, personal guided meditation sessions. I do hands-on healing, and I do as well. Obviously, you've heard my spiritual rap as well. So that is just a fragment of me. But the people I have around me, we are trying to create a community of people who can grow vegetables, who can grow fruit, who can build. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. We're bringing the past back into our present day.
What Shah speaks to is the new earth. And I speak about barter systems and going back to the way the First Nations and the natives that once
Mm.
lived on this land were living before the Commonwealth, before royalty, before any of this. I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking about a time on the planet that absolutely existed where the distribution of wisdom to connect to the hearts of brothers and sisters was
Yeah.
done so we could all elevate to a certain consciousness and have abilities to be able to heal, self-heal, to be able to communicate and feel other human beings without being near them, to be able to see them, to be able to speak to them. I mean, these abilities we have been led to believe by individuals are something that we can't achieve because they want to take away your power. There is
Yes.
a big demand to have human beings forget how powerful they are. So if I put you into a corporate job and I tell you that you're now a lawyer or that you're now a tax man or you're a secretary or a janitor or you're poor, Well, I've given you a belief system
Mm.
that you're going to adopt into your mentality that becomes your identity.
And this is exactly what I'm saying, you know, just down to the doctor and down to the mainstream pharmaceutical. You go to them, you feel like you're ill, they will broadcast that information and frequency and they will make you believe that you are ill. That's all it is. That is all it is, you know? And this is the power of the word. The word is so powerful that we are speaking spells every single day.
Yeah. Very important what you just said there. Speaking spells. People have been led to believe that spells come from witches and wizards. It's not true. The power of the word, just like Shah said, is the power of belief. We create our own reality.
Mhm.
So what we think is what we feel. What we feel is what we emulate. So if
Mhm.
you emulate fear, anxiety, and stress, you're a magnet for fear, anxiety, and stress. If you emulate love, you bring in individuals that you're able to share that frequency with. But if you're not quite there and you just want to emulate this understanding of self-love within yourself because you choose to change your perspective, change your community, change your environment, you are going to vibrate at a frequency that you are going to be able to connect with. It's very real.
Yeah, it is. You know, and that's how they've been broadcasting us for thousands of years. You know, we're evolving now. We're evolving into a new version. We all can feel it and we all can see it through our own eyes as well. You know, so the planet is changing and it's erupting in all different versions: tsunamis, hurricanes, volcanoes, and that is happening in us all.
Yeah, good
Okay,
point. Very
it's
good point.
happening.
I think that people should also not be afraid of that. I think that there's a heavy agenda to instill fear surrounding how Mother Earth reacts to a system. Like,
Hmm.
we're being led to believe that we should be afraid of Mother Nature's abilities. But in reality, we should just bear witness to it. Like,
Yeah.
this is what she does. Like,
Mm.
we are not the controller, and never have we been a controller of Mother Earth. So we should just stand back and witness it and go, okay, well, what can I best do in situations like this? You can change your frequency to the same frequency that Mother Earth is changing her frequency to, so that we can all vibrate and connect on the same level. And that's the beauty of connecting back with nature. Like, if you're in the city all the time and all you know is the city, and you try to go on vacation for 1 week, and it takes 4 days for you to undo what the city's done for you, but you've only got 3 days of vacation left, take a look at that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
We all that for retirement? And even in retirement, you're going to be afraid. So you're missing the journey. You're so focused on the destination that the journey passes you by. And guys like Shah, like, just learn how to let go.
Mm.
Learn how to deprogram yourself. There is so many jobs on the planet. Your corporate job or whatever title you've given yourself or somebody else has given you, you can let that go. Because to create a new title from inside of your heart, something you developed, an understanding of yourself, is freaking priceless, man. You don't get a diploma on the wall for that. You wear that diploma in your heart because it becomes who you are. That's
Yeah.
important.
No, that's blessed. Yeah, that really is. It's, you know, and that's the passion what we need to bring back into society, you know, because we are broadcasting this frequency now of positivity into the cosmos now, okay? And for the people who are not awoken, who are not willing to awaken, their time has come. This is one of my theories, okay? So they say about the rapture, they have this drama about the rapture in the Bible and everything, but I believe it's an awakening. I believe it's an awakening of people's mindset. So once they come to a point of realization what life, true life, is all about, then that's when the doorway opens. That's when they become empowered into their individuality self. Then they see why they are actually being broadcast here. For the people who do not believe in this frequency, then it's a time for them to drown in their ways and realize and take responsibilities of what they've done in their life. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's important that what you just talked about there. I've never really talked about this on any of my episodes yet, but I feel like
I'm
we're here.
sorry, yeah, I just brought it
No,
up.
no, 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 no. What I was going to bring an awareness to is, like, what I believe the rapture was the death of ego. And it was the awakening of self to understand that God is
Ah,
not external from us. and that God is internally within us. She, it's a he, she, there's a male, female, divine feminine, divine masculine, walks within us. So all of us possess this power that's been trying to be taken away from us for 2,000 years. And once spirituality sets in and you go, wow, okay, like I am a part of God. This is beautiful. I can walk with this love because what is God? God is love. So
Mm.
now I have the love. Now I can take the love of God for the love of self because God is within me. So I believe in myself. I trust in myself and I love myself. I can now distribute that to my brothers and sisters who have forgotten where God is. And the
Yes.
death of ego is then alleviated because we understand the balance of ego, of self,
Many blessings. Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. You smashed it, you know. You
right?
smashed it. And this is down to breaking out the codes. Now we're realizing we're masters, you know. We are all masters and mistresses of trickery. And now I look back and now I look of all the old black and white, the stories, the conspiracies, I look back, I'm like, how could we be tricked for so long?
I know.
And even now to this day, you know, no disrespect to anyone, but there are people back in the UK, they're comfortable in their bubble. They
Yeah.
think this is their bubble and they think this is going to survive forever. But, you know, we always like to see outside the box as individuals, some of us. We like to prepare for the future just in case, you know. So it's always good to have a backup plan, a safety plan for the family. And this is what I'm doing, you know. I have 4 children back in the UK. I'm friendly with everyone and they know what I'm doing and they know what I'm broadcasting and they know that I'm loved, you know, and I love them in so many ways, you know. So this is not just for me, it's for my strain of my bloodline as well to live on, to share what I talk about, to share what I sing about, you know. And
Yeah.
I've got my son, I've got my daughter, and they got my frequency, and you know, and it feels so good that I'm doing something for a bigger purpose,
Yeah.
not for money, you know, because money's not been in my life. Okay, since I've been in Crete, I've found myself so much more. I've never been so enlightened ever in my life since I've come to this land of Crete, you know. This land resonates and it opened me up in so many ways. It opened me up to light language, it opened me up to empowering myself and to letting go of the old, breaking away from chains, ancestry chains. So it was like all these healers come to me and I was like, wow, I'm exactly where I should be. So yeah, when you say about breaking away and for people to adventure, it's true. We all need to, you know. I done this because of a loved one who died, and I had to go through another journey because my mum died 6 months ago. So it's a kind of a whole process of rebuilding. Now I'm the oldest in my family line. So this is what makes me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm 42 years old. I'm the oldest in my name, you know, in
Yeah.
my ancestry name. I'm like, wow. So it broadcasts me a new visual outlook of who I need to protect and what I need to create.
The important part about what you're doing is that you've chosen to speak your truth and to be truthful to yourself. So what you were saying about those individuals that are comfortable in the bubble, they know something's wrong. I mean, you
Mm.
absolutely know. Even when you're not willing to speak and see the truth, you still know something's off because medication is heavily distributed within society and that's wrong. Because if we need to be medicated for depression and depression has become normalized, well, then we're unhappy. And if we're unhappy because society and the system dictates that this current trajectory of life has a need for unhappiness, well, then that's wrong. And then if we don't communicate about how we're feeling and we're supposed to store these feelings or distract from them by taking medication, that's wrong. We know these things are wrong. So even if we choose to stay comfortable inside of our bubble and distract with food, shopping, royals, celebrities, video games, social media, doesn't matter. You know that's wrong.
Yeah.
But you just don't know what else is out there. And I can appreciate that. And that's okay. But if you are tired of not knowing what else could be, taking a chance on yourself and taking risks, well, then you've got to be able to take in information from individuals who did take the risks, who did believe in themselves. You don't have to do what they did, but you can certainly listen to new conversations to plant seeds in your mind and help you water them. Break free from the systematic way of life, the systematic rule of money and hierarchy. Like, the biggest thing for me is to think that one human convinced another human that they're better than them. And they did that through knowledge. I have more knowledge than you, and I won't share that knowledge with you. So you're going to have to do what I say because you can't handle the truth, and I
Yes.
don't want to teach it to you. So remember, our system was built off of that. Ego. Somebody withheld information because they felt that they didn't need to distribute that to someone else because they could get others to do what they wanted.
Yeah.
Now we've evolved and progressed 2,000 years later from that structure, and look at where we are. So it's important to learn from our past, to know where we are in the present, but Shah and I both see the future.
For real, even you just saying that, it reminded me when I come to Crete, yeah, I come to Crete to get away from the system completely, yeah, to ground myself fully. But then somehow I had a vision of a CBD shop, and then I opened it, and then I was like, hold on a minute, what am I doing? You know? And it took one person who I'm good friends with now, the Israeli friend who I am with now, to come in my shop and to say, "Oh, I'm starting a little community in Paquiamos, and Paquiamos is literally 5 minutes away from my village." And then I was like, "Okay, I'll come and have a look one day." I went there once, I couldn't find it. I went there the second time, I found it. I went there, and it was like literally what I thought in my mind before I even come on the island of Crete, when I was in Cambridge, where I was visualizing where I want to be and what I want in my life was there. It was like I was walking in the brickworks of my own vision. And this man has created it, and he was like just in the beginning stage of manifesting and making it. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. He must have thought I was a freak because I was walking around again. I was like, what the fuck? Because it was exactly the same. It was down to the point of mine to say, I was like, okay, that's it. Now I know my purpose. So I went back, I closed my shop, I finished with the system, and I come and I've done a voluntary work host for a year and a half. And I met so many people from around the world with their magic, their great gifts, their healing capabilities. And that's what opened me up as well, because I was meeting people who were on my frequency.
Yeah.
So I dreamt, I visualized. I didn't know where this visualized or dream was coming from. And then I ventured to Crete. And then I go for 2 years on my own, creating my own business, doing my CBD, medical marijuana. And then suddenly it took one person to come in my shop to refocus me into my original path. And then this is where it was like, okay, I'm blessed. Okay. And, from now on, this is who I'm meeting. I'm only meeting people who are on my frequency and who are actually broadcasting great projects in the world what are going to make a difference in the right way.
And that's beautiful, man, because what you're talking about is synchronicities. And people hear that word synchronicities, but they don't understand how to see it in their life. And a very important thing that Shaw talked about was that he changed his environment, he changed his community, and he changed his thoughts. Therefore, his perspective in the world around him changed. So if you're surrounded by the same people doing the same job and having the same conversations, doing the same routines, your reality will stay what you know. Like, that's a big thing. People always ask me, how does this start? Where do I begin? Well, it begins by becoming aware in your present moment of what does not serve you.
My
Because
friend.
if you want to break free, and you really do, and I mean, I know it takes courage, it takes bravery, because you're going against this thing that has been built up for 2,000 years to tell you that it is the right way to do life, but somebody is telling you the right way to do life. And we have many examples on this planet right now how we are very disconnected from each other. We are unhappy. We do not communicate. We judge. We see others for what they are, not who they are. And that is what has torn us away from ourselves. So if you can see that and you can feel that, then you have a desire and a willingness to learn something new about yourself and the world around you. That's it. That's everything. Now, you're going to make mistakes along the way for sure. It took connection for Shah to see his next move, but you have to be aware for the connection. That's synchronicities, is the awareness and the willingness to not be judgmental of individuals or be lazy to experience things.
That's beautiful. Exactly. Yeah, that's it. If we can meet people who are going to praise us and see us for who we truly are, that's a super wisdom of love that we've been gifted.
Yeah, that's an important note on value. Like if the individuals you're surrounding yourself with are not seeing your value or not seeing your self-worth, well, then you're putting yourself in a situation where you will never know what your true potential is because those around you do not value you. But if you take a chance on yourself, and let's just say hypothetical, just you fly over to Greece and you put yourself in a community of individuals that do see value in other human beings for them just being themselves, your frequency is going to change. Your
Yeah,
awareness,
100%.
right? Your consciousness, everything in your world is going to change because you're going to be like, I'm around people that want to know about me. And you'll
Yeah.
have these surface level conversations to try and give to these people, but they will pull out depth within you because
Yes.
people that are in this space, we don't want to know what you watch on Netflix. We don't want to know what shoes you bought or how much money you make or what kind of car you drive. None of that stuff matters. I want to know about trauma. I want to
Yeah.
know what you're afraid of. I want to know to help you grow. Those are conversations that can offer you value in your life.
No, that's the blessing, and this is the blessing what we are, This is what we naturally bring to the people. We've even stepped into our empowerment of our message, We are all messengers, yourself, me, as well, and many others around the world. So we come from our own experience of having a crash course. This is what's happened. We've gone through a crash course. Like I say, you've lived like a 150-year-old person because of you gone through this crash course. You've gone through the crash course of life, okay? Being the worst, having the worst put on you, and then transforming it and then putting it into a frequency of light and then broadcasting it out to the rest of the world of making sure that the rest of the people who have gone through the pain, you can overcome it. You know, you can broadcast this beautiful wisdom of knowledge of all of your emotional experiences out to another and show them that it's okay, you know. This is the process. This is life. This is the journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like I say, when I come to Crete, Crete is a magical place. It really is. It is the last point of the mountain range throughout all of Europe.
Oh,
So Crete is like the point. If you can think of a crystal, can you imagine the point of a crystal grid throughout the whole planet and then coming out through Crete? This is why when people come here, if they have something inside them, they it's not ready to release or eradicate. The land won't let you be here. It will tell you to go. There'll be
interesting.
I'm not joking. So many people have come here, and I've seen them come here for a week, and they've still got energies, demons, whatever they have inside them. They can't stay on the land because the frequency is so pure. So it eradicates them, says go home, you need to go back, and then they go. And then I've seen people come here and they felt so at home, and it's awoken them, and it's broadcasted more information, knowledge, and it's opened their awareness, and so many different techniques what this actually island is doing for people. It's a calling. Even when my friend Barak, who come in my shop when I talked about, and I said to him, I said, "What's going on? Why did you come here from Israel?" He goes, "I had the feeling that I didn't feel comfortable. I needed to find a home." So he come here, he found home, and then Israelis were coming over more and more, and I said, "Listen." Barak, I believe that you was a seed.
Ah,
You was a seed and you saw what was coming. And so now you've come here to plant your vegetation, to plant your forest of your people and of your love. And now they will slowly eventually over it. Now we're having a flood. It's a flood because obviously, on mainstream, on the news and everything, what's happening over there. So it's a kind of 5 years before, there were people knowing it was occurring. So there was a kind of consciousness awakening feeling of the land. I need to find a safe zone. I need to make sure I got a place. So if I have some land somewhere in a foreign country, I can bring my family and my
yeah.
family friends.
Yeah, a lot of people in the West, we get delivered a certain narrative and agenda of what's happening in Israel, and it's heavily fed through American media outlets, which are just completely false because they're staging information to fit a certain narrative. And a lot of people don't understand that because they think that the news is telling them the truth. And I can appreciate that. I mean, I guess if that's what you were taught as a child, that's where you get your information, okay, no problem. But I think it's really important to understand that that's not the whole story. And countries like Israel and Palestine that are fighting, I mean, there's human beings that want nothing to do with what's happening, caught in the middle of all this.
Yes,
And then
yes,
we see large influx of refugees fleeing the country, and people are like, we're not taking these individuals. It's like, wait a minute, these are humans who are caught in between an inability to communicate between two countries, and they just want to live, they just want to be safe, they don't want to cause problems, they just want to live. And the rest of the world is judging them based on systematic structures, saying who's paying for these human beings, where are these human beings going to live. It's like, wait a minute, that's why these little invisible lines across the land that says this man's from Israel, this man's from Germany, this man's from England, wherever they're from, isn't
yeah,
true. It's like we're living human beings, part of the human race living on planet Earth. So if
100%.
humans are displaced due to war by rich people, then we need to be taking a look at that for what it is and have the conversation centralized around the actuality, not belief systems. Look at the education system. They remove the power from human beings at a very, very young age. They make you conformists. And it's just the truth. They don't want thinkers. They don't want people challenging the system. We want you to be yes, no, put your hand
Thank you
up,
very much, sir. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's like we need to have conscious conversations surrounding the system and how it affects everybody, not just certain people in countries with less. Right when you started talking about in the very beginning of the podcast, you were speaking about the community that you're surrounded yourself with, and you said Israelis and German and English. Right away, I knew. I was like, geez, I wonder how many people are listening to this and judging this Israeli
of
man in
course,
Iraq for not
of
even,
course.
without even knowing him, without even caring to know him because of what's happening over here in the media on the West. But
Yes,
here, this individual, Barak, what's his name?
Barak.
Barak is a pivotal cornerstone in Shah's life for having wisdom and being an example of Shah's next step. Like, what a
Yeah.
beautiful thing, because Shah didn't judge him. He just saw another human being that was traveling this thing called life and just experiencing things, and he took him for who he was. That's how the synchronicity takes place. So I appreciate you for doing that in life and talking about that.
Yeah, I'm honoured. I'm honoured, and I'm amazed of the frequency that we're giving. We're here to be a great messenger and messengers to the people who need to understand that there is another world out there, and there are ways that we can always overcome any boundary. You
Yeah.
know, and this is the wisdom that we're here to bring for everyone.
Alchemists. I wanted to say this
Yes.
before. Alchemy is such a very real thing in my life and in Shah's life. We took what held us back or what we didn't understand, and we transmuted it into education and help us push us forward. So your darkness becomes your light. So that's alchemy, and everyone is here to learn how to alchemize their life. Like, it's not about this destination of retirement. It's not about how much money you have in your bank or how many companies you can have or what kind of stock trades and anything like that. It's not about that. That's all there to distract you from the alchemy of the experience of your life. That is true wisdom. That is true power. That is purpose. That is what leads an individual to purpose, is to understand that the darkness or the trauma or that of which you do not understand is there to teach you everything that you need to know and grow with in this life, and allow it to become a part of you. It's through the alchemization that you make peace and that you transform your human self into that of which is what weighed you down. So beautiful.
Mm.
I just want to say thank you, bro. Thank you for reaching out. Like, much love for the conversation. It was wonderful. I mean, Shaw and I have only spoken a few times through voice
Yeah,
recordings and one time on the phone, which I was had that in my mind because usually when I do this, I have a conversation with a human. But the way you talk and just like the energy you gave off, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try something new on this one and just let's just see what happens very organically from the very beginning. And
yeah.
I'm grateful I did that. So that was cool.
It's a natural flow, and this is what we're doing in our everyday life. And this is what we're teaching.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to bring. We can, we will, we must.
Yeah.
Good deeds, good thoughts, good words. We have that in our alchemy of life, then voila. You know, you got everything you need and more.
That's it. That's it. And faith and belief in self. I think that people are so disconnected from this understanding of spirituality because religion has messed things up so much for people that if you are looking to break free from those belief systems, and you just really want to get in touch with, let's call it God, the source, the energy, whatever it may be, try visualizing God inside of you.
Yeah.
If you've been led to believe that God is external from you and you've been practicing that and you feel like you're not getting anywhere or you're not being heard and you're not being seen, no problem. So what I would offer you to do as a part of a spiritual practice is turn your attention, time, and energy inwards and see and visualize in your heart center God. Your understanding of God, man, woman, doesn't matter to me. It's personal to you because it is personal to you. No one can tell you what to do and how to appreciate it. So visualize that within self and grow that within self. And what that does is it allows you to believe in yourself and put love and attention and time and energy into yourself. But you've got the God particle, you've got the God consciousness within you because it's here. So now you can grow that and you can grow more into an understanding of the God consciousness or what this all is, and then you're not really giving your power away, you're taking it back. And then you learn how to set boundaries and be accountable and responsible and speak your truth. And you learn all these wonderful things because love is truth. God is an example of unconditional love unconditionally. So nice little practice for you. Nice little awakening on the spiritual journey. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate you.
I'm honest.
Dude, you got any social stuff or are you total off grid?
No, I'm just basic on my TikTok. You can share my TikTok if you want. Maybe I'll give you my SoundCloud.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
where I do my music, and it's only some of my music. I've got so much out there, but I haven't put it out there, if you know what I mean. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
I've
yeah.
listened to some of Shaw's spiritual rap too, and the cool thing about it is when I listen to it, it's just a human trying something new and being themselves in a moment with no
That's all it
judgment.
is.
So
That's
it's
all it
like
is.
it's cool, it's poetic in its own sense, and it's just like, wow, man, like we how first off, how could you ever judge music? You can't judge music. Music is just a vibrational frequency. It's beautiful. All of it's beautiful.
It is.
So
It
when you
is.
hear someone trying something, it's cool, man.
Yeah, and it's all freestyle. It's not like it's scriptured or anything. So it's just like a broadcast. If the divine is talking to me, I need to release it. I'm gonna release it. So,
Yeah.
and this is a new step that Creep made me, to evolve into, to break away. And this is why I'm doing videos now, is to break away from the confidence. I've always been a shy person. Now it's like kind of, you know what, Shy, what have you got to lose?
Yeah. I love that vulnerability. And that's the same with me. Like, I try and teach that's the greatest thing you could possess is just tell people or just show people who you are, like,
Yeah,
regardless of what you're holding back, right? Because no one sets boundaries in our life but us.
yeah,
So when you break that down and you're like, okay, what do I have to lose? Like, if I don't judge myself, whatever if someone judges me, man. Like, and I feel like with what you're doing, it's just gonna come into something beautiful, man. It already is beautiful. It's amazing.
yeah.
All right, I'll pump the social medias and the SoundCloud links all in the bottom end of these in the descriptions below. And Much love, brother.
All right, much love, man, and many blessings, and hopefully in the future we can share many stories.
Well, we'll have you back. We'll have you back as a recurring guest, absolutely, because this just flows too nicely, and I want to get to know you more. And I figure, what better way to get to know you than in front of everyone?
Yeah, too right. That's it. We've got nothing to hide. We're
Yeah.
true speakers.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to be an example, just like your stepfather was. I also wanted to hit on that real quick just before we close this out. Shah's stepfather was an example. He was an example of light, of love to a human being who did not come from his blood source. So, there's many people, 80% of homes are resulting in divorce these days. And so there's a complete imbalance within the divine masculine and divine feminine within a home. So if an individual is able to come into a home and care for children that are not his or hers, it's really important to remember the power of being an example. Like, that is the greatest gift you could possess, is to be an example of kindness, compassion, empathy, hard work, dedication, discipline. Like, these things are so beautiful to leave children, even if they're your own children, absolutely, but even if they're not your children. So I think it's important to remind ourselves of work can be done that we don't get a paycheck for, which is really great. Much love, homeboy. Enjoy your
One
day.
love, brother. Okay, peace out, and to all you beautiful beings out there too.